Hi class, this is Joseph, and these are the instructions for your final paper. Okay, so I'll go over this in detail. Why I want children or my neighbor's children to grow up to be influenced by philosophers A's and B's teachings and not by C's and D's teachings. So the reason I say or my neighbor's children, if you don't plan on having children or you do not currently have children, you imagine then your neighbor's children, or your brothers and sisters' children. Just imagine that you're trying to protect some children that are close to you. Okay? They're dear to your heart and you want to keep them protected. So you're saying there's two that I really like and there's two, not so. So first thing to do is watch this video by me. Of course, if you're watching this, you're already there. And in this particular semester, this counts as your final exam. In other words, there is no final exam. This is it. This is your final exam, this paper. And I've been preparing you for this all along. So your weekly quizzes is just so you get knowledge. Your weekly discussion questions or your bi-weekly discussion questions is so that you're learning how to engage, disagree, have your own opinions with the authors. And so that by the time you get to this point, you already kind of know, like, look, you've been interacting with these philosophers. Who do you agree with? Who do you disagree with? There are some of you out there, you might think, I agree with everything. You might have problems because there are philosophers who disagree with each other. So if you agree with everything, you're living in a contradiction. So you don't want to do that. So there's definitely plenty to go around, or plenty of disagreement to go around. So anyways, 5 to 7 pages long, double space, 12-point font. Let's make it real simple. Like I see here, I say type, double space, normal margins, 12-point. Paper should be clear in intent, well organized, persuasively reasoned, impeccably written. Some of you are, you're not the greatest at writing. Well, you have the writing center to help you if that's the case. I'm not the greatest at writing, and you might think, what? Yeah, I'm in a PhD program. Well, I'm a good writer, but I don't love it. I'm not like an English major. I like communicating ideas, and as a professional philosopher, most of the time I have to do that in written format, which means I have to be very, rigorous with my writing skills. But even at our level, we pass our papers through other philosophers. Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of my argument? Things like that. But for some of you, you struggle mainly with grammar. You don't have a problem communicating your ideas, but grammatically speaking, you need a little help. The writing center is your friend. And they don't charge you. So you can email them your paper, and they'll do all kinds of edits, and then you, work through those edits. And if some of you, just to mention this, if English is a second language and you struggle with writing, I will not grade your grammar if, and only if, you submit your paper to the writing center and you have proof that they've looked at it. Usually they'll give you a receipt. They'll give you a page or something like that. They'll make comments and they'll have their name and all that. If you email that to me, and I know that the writing center has helped you with grammar, I actually won't grade your grammar because they already have. So I won't double grade you because they've already worked with you. So that's an advantage to any of you that use the writing center. Then I'll grade you on other things. But if you don't prove to me that you went to the writing center, I will grade you on grammar. Okay? So, and any questions on that, you can reach out to me. And so you can read these instructions. I'm just going to, go straight to the main deal here. So here's the topic. The topic is, many of you are looking forward to being parents someday. Some of you already are parents. Those of you that are not sure whether you want to be parents or have stake in how your neighbor's children are raised. So that's where you make believe with this main topic of parental skills and what kids are being taught or how they're being influenced. So in 5 to 6 pages, make use of what you have learned by addressing this topic. Now here it is. Why I want my children or neighbors' children to grow up to be, for instance, Stoics, Epicureans, Christians, Aristotelians, a combination of Plato, Augustine, Kantians. And by the way, some of those you haven't read for this semester. Fine. I'm giving you an example of the entire book. This class happens to be in modern, but you could also be in the ancient class. You both use the same book. Basically, you have 16 chapters to pick from. Doesn't matter what class you're in. And so let's say you're in the modern class, you've got Kant, Descartes, Hume, Hegel, Heidegger, all kinds of people. If you're in the ancient, you got Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, on down the line. So anyways, you got all these authors. And why I want them to avoid certain philosophical errors from other philosophers, such as, so thesis statement, right? I'm going to have a thesis statement. And your thesis statement's going to have two positive aspects and two negative. Okay? Two positive influencing philosophers, two negative influencing philosophers. So, and I got them really clear here. Point one, you must choose two authors, philosophical viewpoints, talk about them in the positive. Some of you might be asking, well, I don't disagree with everything the philosopher does. I think some of what they do are brilliant. Well, no problem. If you have to pick somebody, you have to pick two people, pick something about them that you disagree with. You don't have to disagree with them as a person. You don't have to disagree with every single thing they write about. You disagree with something. For example, in the modern class, let's say you're reading about Kant. Kant writes about metaphysics, epistemology, all kinds of stuff. You might say, man, I like his metaphysics, but epistemology, when he deals with knowledge, I don't know, man. I disagree with this. Okay? So it gives you plenty of room to wiggle there. And then also, those are the two positive. You got to think of two people that you like. And you can't possibly, by the way, write everything about these two people that you like or two people that you hate. I am telling you, and I'll tell you below, pick two quotes and then maybe generally talk about them, but two quotes that are very specific to the things you disagree with for each author. Okay? So two positive, two negative. And so anyways, so make sure that you include 1 and 2 above in a simple thesis statement in your intro paragraph. And now we come in. So successful students that want all the points possible on this paper, which are 100, you're going to use these 5 section headings. Right here. If you look at them below, I number them. 1, intro. 2, positive contribution from philosophers. 3, negative contribution from philosophers. 4, conclusion. 5, bibliography or works cited. I am literally telling you, use those exact headings if you want full points. If you do not, you will lose points. This helps you structure your paper. You could simply start your paper by typing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put your section headings, and then start filling in. That's how you do it. So here's section 1, and I'm even telling you, the paragraph should be about a half a page long. Don't make your intro paragraph a page long or a page and a half. Don't do that, or you'll lose points. Why? Because it's unnecessary. All you need is a simple paragraph. And point 2 here, I say your intro paragraph should introduce your topic in some general way. Say, I'm going to talk about whatever. There's plenty of disagreement when you study philosophy, and disagreement can weigh on how we teach our kids. That's general, right? You just start with a few sentences that way. And then you go into point 3, straight up, your thesis statement. And then I link you, if you have problems with the thesis statement, how to write one, you can go to this link there and it shows you. Otherwise, 4, and this is what I'm looking for. My paper argues that, or in this paper, I defend the position that. I am literally looking for those exact words, one or the other, from you. If I don't see those exact words, either my paper argues that, or in this paper, I defend the position that, I know that you don't even know what your thesis statement is. See, again, this helps you to anchor your paper real clear to me. For example, my paper argues that the theories of Kant and Descartes should be avoided when I teach my kids, and the theories of, Dennett and Rorty should be emphasized, or, something like that. And I flipped that. You got to start with the positive first, and then the negative. So let's redo that. My paper argues that the theories from Dennett and Rorty are to be emphasized when teaching my kids, and the philosophical theories of Kant and Descartes should be avoided. Done. That's it. That is a thesis statement, right? Then you go on in section 2 to defend why you believe the positive contribution from the philosophers, what kind of support are you giving there? And then section 3 from the negative contribution. So let's go to the positive contribution. You pick your 2 philosophers that you like. You don't have to like everything about them. Pick something you like about them. And point 1, this section should be 2 pages long, at least 1 page for each philosopher. Does everybody have that? 1 page for each philosopher and 2 quotes for each philosopher. So let's say I love Dennett and Rorty. I'm going to start with those 2, right? Dennett gets 1 page, Rorty gets another page. Dennett gets 2 quotes on that page, and Rorty gets 2 quotes on his page. That's 4 quotes total from the positive contribution section. 2 quotes for each philosopher. If you want to throw in 3 quotes, fine. Don't throw in 4 or more. But 3 is the max. But I'm expecting at least 2. Okay? And then you can expound upon those quotes once you quote. Why do I want you to quote? Because it keeps you honest and you're not plagiarizing somebody's work. I'm giving you permission to quote them. What I don't want you to do is have 2 massively long quotes to where it fills up the whole page. I will take off points if you do that. You will put something in your own words. So you could use like a sentence or maybe 2, and then kind of unpack it in your own words, and then you're done. Fill up a page. So point 2, once you've explained what the philosopher states, I want you to tell me what you think and why about their ideas and arguments, and why you think this will help your kids being raised by their teachings. So you got 1 page for 1 philosopher, right? You give me 2 quotes. Right after the 2 quotes, or you could even do it this way, 1 page, and you could say, let's do this. Let me think of a new, if everybody can see this. So let's say, if everybody can see this, let's say you have let's say Dennett. So think of this as 1 page, right? And then the second page, Rorty. And I'm not saying you have to pick those. I'm just throwing out names, right? 2 positive. These are the positives, right? You say, hey, you can introduce me with like a sentence or 2, then give me a quote, right? Quote, blah, 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 blah. And then you tell me what do you think? In other words, why are you giving me the quote? You give me the quote so you could say, I like that, and it reflects the part of their philosophical argument or theory that I like, and I'd like my kids to be taught that because I think it would help them in this way or something. Done, right? Then, second quote, blah, 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 blah. And then, what do you think? So you give me the quotes, and then you're giving me your feedback on the quotes and why you think it would help your kids. You do the exact same thing for Rorty. Quote, what do you think? Quote, what do you think? So if you were to look at this, I have 1 quote, 2 quotes, 3 quotes, 4 quotes. So 4 per the positive section, 2 quotes for each philosopher, right? See how easy that is? 1 page. Break it up into 2 paragraphs even. You could even say, look, this is 1 paragraph, right? This is the second paragraph. First paragraph, second paragraph. See, if you think analytically like this, it's a lot easier to tackle your paper. I'm telling you, right? 2 pages for each section. So 1 page per philosopher, and then on and on. And sorry. It's like a skid mark there. Give me a second. Let me get rid of this. Okay, so oh, it says word not responding. Give me a second. It will respond. There you go. It is responding now. Okay. So now we go into the negative contribution from the philosophers, right? So let's say you're like, I don't dig Kant and I don't dig Descartes. You're like, I don't like these guys. And you might say, no, I like them, but I don't like this area that, or this quote, something about that, or their theory, but I'm going to try to represent it in a simple quote. Then you tell me what you think, why you don't want your kids to be taught that, or your neighbor's kids, or your brothers or sisters' kids. If you don't want to have any, you get the drift, right? Second quote. What do you think? And then on over here, quote, what do you think? Quote, what do you think? And then I can tell you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 quotes, 2 per author. What are the authors? Kant, Descartes. Okay, so now you can clearly see how many quotes do you have? You have 8. 4 from the negative section, 4 from the positive section. Okay? Hopefully that helped you when I did that. So now you're pretty much done with sections 2 and 3. You know they're 2 pages each section, so that's 4 pages total. Well, I'm telling you, your whole paper's got to be 5 to 6 pages long, right? So look up here, 5 to 6 pages long, right there. So 4 of them are already done. The last page, the 5th page, half of it could be your intro paragraph, right? And the other half can be your conclusion. See how that works? Now, most of you will probably go a little bit over 5 pages, and I'm telling you 6. If you want to write more than 6, I will not take off any points. I could care less if you wrote 10 pages. Doesn't bother me. But let's just say 5 is the minimum. I am expecting 5. If you have less than 5, points will be taken off. Okay, so, and I make it real simple. I say in each section 1 and 2, you got to give me 2 quotes. 2, once you explain what the philosopher states, then I want you to tell me what you think and why their ideas, arguments, about their arguments, and why you think this will not help your kids. So what you're doing is when you say why they won't help your kids, you're reinforcing the thesis statement that you made. Okay? This is how you write a solid philosophical paper. You give me a thesis statement, you give me evidence to support that, okay? Or reasons to believe. All right. And what I'm telling you, and I only do it in this section, see where it says right here, Melkert, page 8? I'm telling you, when you give me a quote, I want it to look exactly like that. Why? Because he is the author of the book. Ding dong. Oh, wow. Too much of a zoom there. See, Melkert? You could put Melkert and more, but I don't make you do that. Just Melkert is fine, right? So, Melkert, comma, page number. So let's go back to our little Word document. And let's say you quote something, right? Blah, 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 blah. Whatever the quote is, right? And right after that, you will simply put Melkert. And if it's like 1 page, you put the page. If it's like multiple pages, you put like whatever pages they are, 80 to 81, and you're done. And then a period. That is exactly the format that I want to see. Quote, parentheses, Melkert, pages 80, 81, or whatever pages. I don't want to see Plato, Descartes. I want to see Melkert. He is the author of this book you're using, okay? So that's what I want to see. And I put it right here, Melkert, but actually you have to do it there. You have to do it here, here, here. You get the drift. There's 8 quotes total, and that's how I want the format. And once you're done, you go to conclusion. This paragraph's, this page is about a half paragraph or half page long, or, basically a paragraph. You basically tell me how you think you defended your thesis statement real simply. This only has to be 4 or 5 sentences long max. And then you briefly point me, maybe give me the last sentence, point me to a future direction that your paper has pointed to, or further questions that your paper has raised, or maybe something you can add. Say, like, in the future, maybe somebody can consider this, and just end. It's like food for thought kind of thing. Okay, so that's your conclusion. Bibliography. So next section, cite the work you use. This is an example of another book below. And this is where I'm going to get some of you. I am literally giving you the exact way I want your bibliography to look. This is exactly how the format should look. But notice, that is not our book. That is another book. I want you to give me the format, that format for this book. So we'll have Melkert, Norman, and Morrow, David. You know, it will have the title. It will have 8th edition. It will say Oxford Unity Press. And I believe it's 2019. You can look inside your book and give me the year, right? That is what this format does. It gives you the author's names, gives you the title of the book, the edition. And you don't have to put Plato Republic there. You could simply eliminate that out and just put, your Oxford. I'm just giving you, so when I did it, this is just an example of how a student may say, look, I'm using this book, and in this paper, I'm specifically using Plato's Republic, right? But since you are using 4 different philosophers and a bunch of stuff, you could just delete that off. I don't care about that. So yours will give me the author's name, the title of the book, the edition, period, Oxford, and I think it's 2019. Done. That's it. Some of you might want to use outside resources, and this is a huge point here. You can, but if you write this paper, and I got to be clear, I do not want you to write this entire paper outside of this book. You might try to Google, Wikipedia, all these other stuff, and then cut and paste it in your paper. Absolutely not. I want to see it from this book. That is the point of this final paper. The final paper forces you to engage in this specific book. Why do I choose it? Because Melkert and Morrow are very good at giving you a bunch of details about these philosophers and how they contribute to the great conversation. I want you to be there, not on Wikipedia or some other YouTube sites, even though you can use those for outside research. And if you do, you simply put those also in your bibliography. Okay, so you include those with the entry on Melkert, great conversation, right? But again, you will have to use this book. If you do not use this book and you use outside resources and you do not include this book, you will lose points. Okay, so and here's a huge point. Do not plagiarize. If you cut and paste and you put other things into this paper that are not your own and you do not properly quote them, I will know. Mount Sac has plagiarism software. It will literally tell me exactly where you got your info and what website or from what student. Yes. If you say, wow, dude, my friend wrote a kick-ass paper on Kant 2 years ago, I'm going to use it. It will literally say Maria Johnson, and it will tell me exactly what class you're using. Do not do that. Okay? So the purpose of this paper is to tell me what you think. You have something special to say. And remember, from the very beginning of this course, you are participating in the great conversation, and now is your chance to shine, not somebody else's, somebody else's paper, somebody else on YouTube. No, this is about you. You have something good to say, and that's what I want to hear, okay? So to reinforce, I'm trying to boost your confidence here. Some of you might think, oh, I don't have anything original. These people are smart. No, you're smart too. And some of these philosophers, like let's say, for example, like Descartes and Kant, they've been dead for hundreds of years. And we have had technological advances since then. And you might say, man, we have learned some new things and we have new evidence that they haven't considered, new scientific, advancements maybe, let's say, or even philosophical theory have progressed more since they passed away. Or you might say, man, no, they're a freaking genius. Whatever they said, that's what goes. And they died 2,000 years ago. It doesn't matter. What they said goes. So I'm just letting you know that you have an advantage if you wanted it by saying we have a lot of technology since the passing of these people, but not all of them are dead. Keep in mind, there's at least 5 or 6 from this book that are alive right now, like Dennett, Chalmers, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, you definitely have something to contribute. That's what I want to hear. And last but not least, reading this grading rubric below, as this is exactly how I'm going to grade your papers. In other words, in order to get a full possible 100 points, you have to do these things. What are they? They're exactly what I just told you to do. Section 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, you got to have a thesis statement, on and on. You got to have 8 quotes. So then I say, last but not least, this is not an easy assignment. A good paper will require much thought. Don't leave it until the last minute. Don't. And I don't think some of you have. I think some of you are like, yeah, you've been picking out people you disagree with for a while, or people that you get jazzed about. But anyways, this paper is due on June 11th. That is your final exam day. You all have final exam times. They're very specific, but we're not a Mount Sac. So guess what? It's due at midnight or 11:59, okay? And not a minute later. That's it. So I'm giving you all day June 11th to turn in this final exam, which is your final paper. All right, so here's the grading rubric. Criteria. And I even tell you, the points over here off to the side, 10 points for the intro and thesis. 10 possible points, right? 25 possible points for the positive philosophers. 25 possible points for the negative philosophers. 20 points for the support and documentation. That's where I'm going to be looking for your 8 quotes. How you formatted them. And I even look, I give you another example. Mercamp, that's exactly how I want you to format. I'm also looking for bibliography here, works cited. So that's all, that's 20 points. That's huge. Some of you that just completely forget and skip your bibliography, you're going to lose points. And that's kind of, and I don't want you to lose points. I want you to get all of them. Grammar and spelling, 15-point max. Let's say you suck at grammar and you didn't want to go to the writing center. The most I can take off is 15 points, okay? So I'm not going to take off anything more than that. And conclusion, 5 points, right? So if you skip the conclusion paragraph, the most I can take off is 5 points, but don't skip it. And so that's pretty much it. And inside those 5 points or inside those 15 points, I give you a breakdown. And I even say, excellent, good, needs improvement, missing, or accepting. Okay? So, for example, let me just say, let's say some of you in your intro paragraph versus thesis statement, if I were to give you good, means you have introduced the general topic of your main idea well, and you furthermore made it explicitly clear what your thesis statement is, you and your paper is arguing for, but more could be added to either the paragraph itself or the thesis statement for more clarity. So I'm saying, look, you did a good job. A little bit more could be added. Or needs improvement, or missing or unacceptable. Let's say you have an intro paragraph and there's no thesis statement. You're telling me these things, but nowhere in there do I say, I see the words, I am going to argue, or this paper is going to defend. I don't see any of that. That means it's missing or unacceptable. It means you didn't even have a thesis statement. So got to watch out for that, okay? So that's pretty much it. And let's say you gave me, like your positive section, you have to give me 2 philosophers, 2 quotes each. Let's say you gave me, instead of doing 2 quotes per philosopher, let's say you did 1 quote. That's where you'll lose points, and that's kind of where I'll say, hey, needs improvement. So I would say that's pretty much the breakdown of your whole paper. It's got to be from the book. Yes, you can use outside sources. I've given you the subheadings that you can use 1 through 5. So here's the deal with me. If you do all these things and you write a decent paper, you will get 100. That's it. I want you to succeed, and I want you to succeed with maximal excellence. Keep in mind, this is only an intro class. You're not even at the graduate level or even the undergraduate level at a higher level. This is like an intro class, right? So I'm not expecting a major amount of analyzing and thesis here. I'm just expecting you to do what I want. Give me 4 philosophers, 2 positive, 2 negative, 2 quotes for each, subheadings, quoting, bibliography, things like that, decent grammar. That's it. Okay. So there's no tricks. And some of you, when you spend time with this paper, I will just let you know this is how you should write papers going forward. Clear thesis statements, clear support, works cited. So that's pretty much it. If you want any other clarification, just reach out to me. But I hope this video helps you, and I look forward to reading your papers.